Starscream Kills presents, in a geeky guy production, Vamping It Up. Vamping It Up is a variation of Anthony Palmerio's rendition that's found on blackborder.com. He also is known as the Proffessors on YouTube and does a number of high-quality videos from a PTQ perspective. Now, I come from a more kitchen table perspective, and so that is what I'm going to present with you today, is how to essentially do the Vamp It Up deck on a shoestring budget. Now, the Vamp It Up deck is essentially a black mana only type of deck. Now, the way Anthony has it constructed is to make it look to be essentially a Jund aggro deck, so featuring black, red, and green, but the red and green is pretty much just a camouflage, which he does with fetch lands to throw your opponent off, because essentially it is a black only, a mono black deck. And essentially, as the name states, it is a vampire deck. So the new tribal, and what I'm using is the Rise of the Vampires intro pack as a basic way to get most of the cards. Now, we all have different life situations. Mine is one in which I have been downsized, and my wife is experiencing some difficulties and may have to have some major invasive knee surgery. So basically, I do mirror decking, which is whatever I have in real life, I create also in Magic Online, and I'll feature another deck that I did this with. So I use intro decks as bases, because I'm going to have to recreate my deck on Magic Online, and that way it gives me some standard cards to work from. And so the intro decks actually are a cheap way to get a lot of cards and knowing exactly what you're going to get. Now, some people would argue for the boosters, and it's sort of my one little lotto gambling addiction piece with boosters. They're fun to get, and you never know, but the reality is you can never be certain what exactly you're going to get. With this, I know 41 cards that I am going to get, plus I'll get a booster in that, and then I can work from there. And it's the same thing with the Magic Online. So essentially, what Anthony's article, which I downloaded from blackborder.com, he talks about his process of putting together this deck. And so I'm going to show you the pieces that I predominantly have. But essentially what I did was, you can get 2 of these intro packs and pretty much have most of the cards. And so we'll start from there. The creature component to Anthony's Vamp It Up was left entirely intact. Essentially, he decided on 4 Vampire Lacerators. This is a card you will have to purchase outside. I have found, going through eBay, getting these for, I get them for $1.75, including shipping. If you get free shipping from cheap minis, is the best way to ensure this. I only got 3 of these after ordering an entire booster box back when I had money. So you cannot, just because it's a common card, assume you're going to get it. So that's what I like to do to be for sure. You're going to get all the Ghoul, Draz, Vampires you need with the 2 intro packs, as you get 2 in each box. Also, but you only use 3 in this deck. You use 4 Nighthawks and you get 2 in each intro pack, so that's perfect. You only get 1 Gatekeeper per intro, so you'll have to pick up another 2. Yes, it's an uncommon, so it shouldn't be too expensive, but also because it's an uncommon, don't assume you're going to get it without spending a lot on cards. So it's best to just purchase that. You're going to get your 2 Malakar Blood Witches, no problem. And then the last piece is sucking it up and getting the Vampire Nocturnus, which can be a little costly, but nonetheless it's worth it, because it turns these all into, at worst, with the 1 the 1/1 here into a 3/2 flying. So you simply can't say no to that card. It's just very important linchpin. This is a fast-working vampire aggro. Now, part of understanding things is deck strategies. Often a lot of people will posit suggestions to decks without entering up into the strategy behind them. This has a particular strategy. It doesn't make a lot of sense to mess with it if you don't understand what you're doing. Now, what it is this seeks to level down your opponent from under 10 life as quick as possible to pump up this critter. And so all of a sudden the Acolyte of Zathrid, while one of the most atrocious cards ever, all of a sudden has a little more of a use. Now, what Anthony's doing here is entirely different. This is more of a fast work aggro deck. So it's okay to play with it, but if you are going to mess with these things, you have to remember that's the strategy, and you need to work up within that. This is meant to be a quick kill. So with that, after we're talking to the creatures, we'll move into the spells.